So why are people leaving Frisco? Is Frisco going to be the right place for you? Well, there might be a lot of reasons why you might actually want to avoid moving to the city of Frisco, Texas. And today we're going to get into that, all the reasons why you want to avoid moving to Frisco. No matter how much everybody's talking about it, no matter how much you see on the news, is Frisco going to be the perfect fit for you? Well, let's dive right in. But first up, my name is Kristen Carpentier, and I'm a licensed realtor here, and I specialize in helping people find their perfect home here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area from anywhere around the country and around the world even. So any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out and let's find you the perfect spot as well. So why exactly are people leaving Frisco? Now, what used to be seen as more of like the outskirts of town, Frisco used to be kind of out in the countryside. When people would move here to the Dallas area, not much was happening over on the Frisco side of things. But nowadays, Frisco is seen as much more of a dynamic and rapidly growing city known for the economic growth and the top schools and tons of recreational amenities on top of it. Now, it may not be for everyone, but we're going to dive into what is causing so many people wanting to leave Frisco or actually choose somewhere else to live. Now, for the population growth, to kind of give you an idea of how big Frisco is and why not everybody's wanting to live there. So, back when they did the census of 2010, the population of Frisco was right at around 117,000 people. But nowadays, it has seen a growth of 88%. And as of 2024, we're looking at a population of over 236,000 people. Frisco is still currently growing at a rate of 3.73% per year, and its population has increased by 16.7% since our most recent census of 2020. Back then, they did record a population of just over 202,000 people. So, as you can see, Frisco is growing like crazy. And not to mention, with population growth, obviously, we've had to have a lot of growth in housing. The total housing units in the city of Frisco is up 92%. Between the years of 2015 and 2022, Frisco has built 1,090 units per year per 100,000 people. That is 7 times the rate that Dallas managed during the same exact time period. So can you imagine? In fact, 7 times the growth is more than most places around the country. So Frisco is continuing to be one of the fastest growing cities, not only here in the state of Texas, but also in the entire country. Now, Frisco is located mainly within the Collin County boundaries, and it does incorporate a little bit of Denton County as well. If you're going to get down to downtown Dallas, say you do absolutely love Frisco and you have to commute sometimes, well, to get down to Dallas is going to be about 28 miles. If you have to travel all the way over to Fort Worth, that's going to be about 50 miles. And if you travel a lot and need to go to the airport, that's going to be about 24 miles. But maybe you are moving to Texas because you are a huge sports fan. You do love to go and do things. If you're going to get over to Arlington, where obviously the Dallas Cowboys are, the Texas Rangers are, that's where we have Six Flags and Hurricane Harbor, that's going to be about 42 miles. So all of these numbers are without traffic, but we're going to get into a little bit of that by living, if you're going to be actually living in the Frisco area. Now, Frisco is going to border parts of Louisville, the Colony, Little Elm, and the majority of it on the north side is going to be the city of Prosper. On the south side is going to be the Colony and Plano, and on the east side is going to be the city of McKinney. So maybe you have family in some of these areas, maybe you're relocating for a job in some of these particular cities. That's just going to kind of give you an idea of where the city of Frisco is actually located. And the size of Frisco is actually quite large compared to some of the other cities here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It's about 68 miles. So when you are kind of thinking about how spread out it is and where everything is in relation to Frisco, that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing. And when we are talking about that, we'll get into a little bit more on some of the major cons, but you're not going to have tons of freeway access. If you're going to want to hop on the Dallas North Tollway, that's going to run north and south pretty much right through the middle of Frisco. The 121 Sam Rayburn Tollway is going to run right along the south side of Frisco. But if you're going to be way over on the west side or the east side of Frisco, you're going to pretty much be traveling all the way through the city just to find a freeway if you're having to commute for quite a while. But we're going to get into a little bit more of the traffic and those kinds of problems here in just a second. Now, the first thing that we want to talk about is the cost of living in Frisco. The median income for somebody living in Frisco is right at about $180,000. So if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're moving here and maybe your income isn't quite that high, it might be a little bit harder to find your dream home by moving to the Frisco area. Currently in our MLS, home sales are averaging from about $380,000 to $11 million. The most expensive home currently on the market is just under $11 million, and there are a lot of homes in the $1 million plus range as well. There really isn't, compared to some of the other areas and the amount of growth that's happening, there is certainly multiple new construction opportunities, but maybe just not quite as many as some of the other areas throughout the Dallas Metroplex. But of course, living in the Frisco area and the popularity of Frisco has been driving those prices up, because these days Frisco isn't on the outskirts of town anymore. Really, everything is moving into the Frisco area. So one of the bonuses of living in the Frisco area is the fact that the property taxes actually just went down a little bit. And that could be a bonus, but there are certainly some other affordable options in regards to our property taxes here in the Dallas, Texas area. Of course, everybody's always talking about how high our property taxes are here, which of course is a huge negative no matter where it is that you live. But some of these areas are going to have higher property taxes than other, and you're certainly going to want to check into that if that's something that is important to you. But obviously, here in Texas, we don't have state income tax, so if you are moving here for a job, that could help balance it out a little bit. I always say it never really balances out as much as you think it does unless you make a lot of money, and that tends to balance it out even better. But for retirement purposes, moving here to Texas, you're still going to have those high property taxes, and you're just going to want to kind of check into where it is that you're moving and what those property tax rates are going to be. But property taxes in the Frisco area did just go down a little bit, so maybe that's the one bonus for living in Frisco. But when we are talking about cost of living and what it costs to live in this particular area, well, you're going to have a lot of HOA fees, and especially in the Frisco area. When I just pulled up the MLS, currently on the market, there's 329 total properties for sale, but only 16 of them have no HOA. So as you can see, the majority of the homes in the Frisco area are going to have the HOA fees on top of it. And because there are a lot of luxury communities and the really nice communities that are coming into town, like the Fields development and Lexington and the Grove, for example, you're going to have very high HOA dues. In fact, some of these communities, especially if they're guarded and gated, you can be paying over $3,000 a year just in your HOA fees. So when you're looking at your property taxes and then you add on the additional $3,000 plus per year, you're looking at just some crazy expenses just to own a home in a particular neighborhood. So you can move into some of these other areas that, maybe the HOA fees aren't nearly as high, and maybe you want to save as much money as you can when buying your next house. So definitely something to think about in regards to how much you're going to have to pay for your HOA fees, because nobody likes having to pay those. And of course, here in Texas, this is going to apply to the entire state of Texas, are going to be our homestead exemptions. Just something to take note of. Here, our homestead exemption used to be $40,000, and now it's about $100,000 that you are going to save off of your primary residence. So people wanting to come to the Dallas area and get an investment property, for example, your property taxes aren't going to reflect that homestead exemption because it's not going to be your primary residence. But of course, that's going to apply to the entire state of Texas. All right, now on to one of the biggest things that people talk about all the time and why they hate living in a particular area, but of course, particularly in the Frisco area, is going to be the traffic problems. Now, as I said, pretty much you're going to be surrounded by toll roads. In fact, the 380 is going to be heading east and west on the very north side of Frisco that's going to border Frisco and Prosper. But that's actually not your regular freeway. That's going to have a lot of stoplights, and there is so much growth and construction happening up there. A lot of your commercial, like restaurants and grocery stores and things, are all along the 380. That's going to take you, all the way over to the McKinney area and all the way over to the Denton area. But the amount of construction that's happening, because of the amount of growth that's happening up there, it is quite the nightmare. And of course, with traffic, if you're going to have to take the Dallas North Toll Road and head down into the Dallas area because you commute on a regular basis, you're going to have to be paying for that as well. And along the south side is the 121 toll road. So you're really surrounded by toll roads. And as I said, if you're over on the east side or the west side and it's super inconvenient to even get over to the freeway, you're going to have to be worrying about the traffic just to even get down to the freeway. And of course, along the Dallas North Toll Road, there is so much growth happening. There are certain areas and certain developments, commercial-wise, office buildings, skyscrapers. In fact, if you drive up the toll road where the Star is and just everything along the toll road right there in the heart of Frisco, so much growth is happening. You're going to see those big construction cranes, and there's going to be a lot of construction and growth that's going to be continuing to happen over the next probably 10 to 20 years. So traffic is really not slowing down anytime soon, and so much is continuing to go into the Frisco area. In fact, if anybody knows anything about Frisco, they know that that is where everything is coming to. When the Dallas Cowboys moved their practice facility up there into the Star, we have that, not to mention the Frisco Rough Riders, which is the minor league baseball team. We have FC Dallas, the professional soccer league up in the Frisco area. And we have the Dallas Legends minor league basketball team that is associated with the Mavericks, Stars hockey, and not to mention the amount of events that are coming into the Frisco area as well. In fact, last year, if anybody's into country music, in fact, if you're moving to Texas, you might as well learn to love it. The Academy of Country Music came into the Frisco area, and they're slated to continue coming here to Frisco as well. So events and the PGA headquarters and so much growth, so many opportunities, and all of it seems to be just coming right here to the Frisco area. In fact, if you look at anything on the news and how all of this growth is happening, it all seems to be coming to Frisco. And obviously, Universal Studios is coming here to the Frisco area as well. So if you are commuting, let's say to work Monday through Friday, well, just think of how it's going to be on the weekends when you bring in somewhere like Universal Studios. They do say that they're trying to tailor down their hours, but can you imagine on Saturday and Sunday when people come into town to visit and maybe you are not working on the weekend, everybody coming up into the Frisco area on the weekends as well. So it's almost like you are never going to have a break in traffic if you are living in the Frisco area. In fact, I know I am probably in the Frisco area at least a couple of times a week. And I will say you can really find anything you want in the city of Frisco. But I know for sure I do not want to be driving around Frisco during any sort of rush hour. But even in the middle of the day, because there are so many commercial opportunities, all the shopping you could want, restaurants, and just everyday living, there's so much of it right in Frisco. Obviously, you never have to leave Frisco if that's something that you're looking for. But just going and visiting Frisco and knowing that that amount of traffic is happening, it just really isn't for everybody. In fact, speaking of which, I had a client come into town a few weeks ago who is really considering the Frisco Prosper area. And by the time she came out and she drove all around, she said, there is absolutely no way I could stand to do this every single day. And I mean, like I say, half the time you need to come out and experience it for yourself. Is it really where you want to be? And it just really isn't for everyone. Granted, I have helped multiple clients move into the Frisco area, but this client in particular, once she saw it, she said, that is exactly where I'm coming from, and this is exactly what I want to avoid. So we had to find her somewhere that was a little bit more suitable to what was going to make her happy. But just an example of the traffic, the congestion, and how it was always busy was certainly something that made her avoid moving to Frisco and wanting to move somewhere else. So traffic, huge on the list of why most people do not want to move to the Frisco area based on where they might be working or where their family is, and it just might not be for everybody. All right, now next on our list is going to be the schools. Obviously, so many people want to move to Frisco because they know that there's top-rated schools in the Frisco area. But when we're thinking about how long Frisco has been around, when you look at niche.com, you can see that the Frisco schools do get A+ ratings the majority of the times. They do get a lot of really good ratings. The schools have been around for a long time. And not to mention the schools are a little bit on the smaller side. They don't like to have these big, huge high schools, for example, like a lot of the other cities around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex do have. But that's also why a lot of people are now leaving. They have felt that, you know what, we're getting even better schools by moving up the street to the Prosper area, for example. They have brand new schools with state of the art everything, um, great teachers, great opportunities. And surprisingly, when you look at it, Prosper has even better ratings versus Frisco. Of course, you're going to have to do your research. You're going to have to go in. Some schools are rated higher than others, and that is always somebody's personal opinion on which ones they prefer. But certainly something, because even in the Frisco area, as the growth happens, they do build more schools. But for the most part, the schools are overcrowded and they're older, and people are wanting newer and better opportunities for their kids, hence why they might be leaving the Frisco area to move to somewhere newer. Just something to think about if that's important to you. Now, of course, we've talked about the cost of living, we've talked about the traffic, we've talked about the schools. Well, when we're talking about why people are leaving and how congested the city of Frisco is, just think of what is still continuing to come to the Frisco area. Like I said, we have Hall Park, which is a huge development, high rises, and that's going to be being built out for quite some time. And that is going to be, like I said, right off of the Dallas North Tollway. We have the Link, which is a $1 billion, 240-acre mixed-use addition to the PGA Frisco. And if you come and see how big the PGA Frisco is, and you know that the amount of development that is continuing to still happen up there, that's going to include a mix of Class A office and destination retail luxury residential. It's also going to be touted as a really great entertainment area. Just a lot of hospitality, sports focused, different types of opportunities up near the PGA. And that first phase just broke in 2023, and that's going to continue to be built over the next multiple years as well. So lots of construction in regards to that. And there's also going to be the Gate development, which is a $700 million luxurious mixed-use development set on a 41-acre campus featuring 900,000 square feet of Class A office space over 3 different buildings. It's going to have another 225-room hotel, 2 high-rise condo towers, and room for 100,000 square feet of restaurants and retail. So can you imagine the amount of business growth that's continuing to happen in the Frisco area? So even if you don't live in Frisco and you work in Frisco, or maybe you do live in Frisco and you realize the amount of growth that's coming and everybody that wants to, that's going to have to be coming to the Frisco area for work, it's just going to be getting busier and busier. They're also building what's called Kaleidoscope Park, which is a huge public park, architecture, gardens, play area, performance lawns, different technology areas, and a whole place for visitors to come to concerts, films, music, performances, and different recreational activities as well. So when you kind of see that the homes are starting to get a little bit more scarce in the Frisco area just because of the massive amounts of commercial growth and construction that's continuing to happen. And this type of growth is going to be happening for many years to come. Not everybody wants to be surrounded by it, and a lot of people want to avoid it. So when you're thinking of the growth up in the Prosper and Salina area, you might get some newer communities, you might get some newer schools, but to ever get out of some of those areas and to have to get through the Frisco area, it's only going to be that much more difficult. So if you want to avoid Frisco at all and you want to find somewhere that might be better suited to you because maybe you're moving to Texas and you want a slower pace of life, which honestly is a number of clients that we do talk to, certainly reach out to us. We try to help our clients find the perfect fit for them. And if you have any questions at all, reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Let us know what your questions are. In fact, leave your comments down below. Let us know what you're looking for here in Texas or what you might like the most. And if you do live in Frisco, we would love to hear those comments as well. So don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so, because we are putting content out every single week and we love helping people make that move here to the Dallas, Texas area. And any questions, until next time, take care.